I think this boss, more than any other boss since Demon Souls, has really created a very, we'll say, vibrant discussion on whether or not cheesing is okay. I personally don't give a fuck. You pay your money to play the game, and you should have fun however you want to have fun. I don't give a fucking judge. I don't care what you do. If you want to do the rooftop trick with Demon of Hatred and cheese the shit out of him and never touch an R1, I don't give a shit. Go for it. However, I think if you do that, if you cheese the demon through the rooftop, then you don't get to say that you did an all boss run. Like, yeah, okay, you got his memory and you had fun playing the game, and that's great, but you didn't actually fight him, so you can't really say, like, you beat all bosses, and you kind of didn't. I mean, I guess technically, but not really. So, but whatever, who cares? I also imagine this boss has been the source of many a migraine for some Sekiro players, because he really stands out. It's a very different kind of boss, and in a lot of ways he feels more at home in Bloodborne. Like, it feels like something that sort of got loose from one of the chalices, maybe. Some variant of Lawrence. Ultimately, I think within this game, this is a difficult boss. Top 5 for sure. But probably not as difficult as some people think. I think he's just very intimidating. So in his first phase, he doesn't have a very big move set, but he can mix it up. The golden rule, I guess, like what you want to do is you want to stick to his ass and his dick thing, and you can walk under his legs, you can slide under his legs, but he has a tendency to mix up his attacks based on how close you are. And I find the second phase to be the scariest. So with these attacks, you always want to grapple. It's just safest, and you always want to try and be as close to him as you can. You can deflect the stomps if you want, but I tend to fight him just going after, just whittling down his HP. Yeah, so take all the moments you can to heal. You can usually get a good healing moment under his dick ballsack thing, and I always fuck up if I'm under his crotch because it's difficult for me to tell when the leg is coming down to deflect, and I almost always get hit by it because I suck. And this is not by any means a perfect fight. I mean, I think I go through 9 gourds, I get fucked up a lot, but it's okay. This is why you always want to grapple that, because it puts a lot of distance between you. This is an attack where if you are really close to him after he does that, he might follow it up with a second attack. So ideally, what I like to do is, instead of running in after the attack is done, I wait for his arm to start winding down, so that way I know the attack is finished. And really it's just about staying on him and not being overly greedy, because if you're spamming R1, you might get tripped up and you'll be locked into an R1 swing when he does his peerless, and if he does that, I mean it's gonna wreck your health bar. Yeah. I think that this fight is really, really fun in this game, but it does feel somewhat out of place. Maybe a little bit. But it's still a lot of fun. I think where people get tripped up is, I mean, the fact that it's 3 phases. He does a ton of damage, and he's big. So it's a very intimidating fight. But if you are in any way familiar, I think, with Bloodborne bosses, then you should feel somewhat familiar with how to go about this. Maybe not. I mean, I approach this like I approached any of the big chalice bosses, or even Lawrence. But maybe that's not the way you want to approach this boss. But it works for me. Hyper aggressive, and you always want to keep on him. You don't want to have distance. In the second phase, he doesn't do it in this, but he will shoot out the idols, the flaming idols. It's not a bad attack to get, but it can fuck with you if you're not ready for it, and if you don't really know how to get out of the path of those idols. So here he will start out by doing his Ring of Fire. You can use the malcontent in this phase. You can use it 3 times on the Demon of Hatred. You can use it in any phase you want. But if you save it, and if you use it in the 3rd phase, it pretty much negates the whole thing, because while he's stunned by the malcontent, you can just wail on his dick thing and pretty much whittle his health down to nothing. I don't use it here, because I did not want to go through all the upgrade paths on this run. I just said, fuck it. You don't really need it. I mean, the 3rd phase is pretty much the 2nd phase, so if you know the 2nd phase, you know the 3rd phase. The only thing that is really different about the 3rd phase is he does the Ring of Fire, and unless I'm wrong, the idols come out a little differently, but if you just run at an angle, then when he does this little move, you can go in and get some hits, and it's really good for punishment. And Akko's Sugar is good here. Divine Confetti works. I don't use them because, I mean, they're not really necessary, but they'll get the job done quicker than, what, 9 minutes? So yeah, I mean, I probably could have done this maybe in a shorter amount of time, maybe. But I have not mastered the Demon of Hatred. I mean, I know his phases, but I'm never like 100% confident going into this. And I wish I could say that it's not really like the other bosses in Sekiro, where, you know, you understand the Makiri, or you understand how to deflect. This one's different. I mean, the best advice is to go in and learn the first phase. Don't worry about dying. Just go in and learn the first phase. Then once you learn the first phase, go in and learn the second phase. And once you can do the first and the second phase, then go in and learn the third phase. And just know what to expect in each phase, because they are somewhat unique. I think he is a bit more passive in the 3rd phase, but maybe I'm wrong. It feels that way to me. But it's the same with all the other bosses. I mean, if you go into this each time hoping that you're going to beat the shit out of him or something, no. You're just going to get frustrated. This is an attack that's really good because you can just run into his side, smack him a bit, and deflect his head. Bash. But yeah, I mean, best advice is just learn each phase, and it doesn't matter if you die, so long as you learn. And if you learn at least one thing each time you fight him, then you're that much closer to beating the shit out of him. But that's pretty much a wrap on the Demon of Hatred here. So best of luck. Best of luck. Go kick his ass.